I
always love when the Pharaoh, like, when Imhotep takes his sword out, he's like, Imhotep.
Yeah, Imhotep.
Like, why are you so surprised? Like,
Imhotep.
Like, he just stands there. Like, the motherfucker takes his sword out. That's the first, his reaction is like, Imhotep. Like, no, get the fuck out of there. Like, the fuck.
Anyways, welcome everybody to another episode of the Lunch Table Podcast. And in this episode, we're going to give you our review for Barry, episode 7, now streaming on HBO Max. Beware, there will be full spoilers ahead. We have a jam-packed episode for you guys covering everything. So take a ride with us. Dylan, why don't we get started with your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I always love in this season how kind of like Barry is always in the background. But like he somehow like started all this nonsense.
Yeah,
I thought this was a really funny episode, to be honest. Like all the shit that happens between Hank and Fuches.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
It's like this. It's the dumbest like gang war you've ever seen, like on screen.
Wait, what did you say? Fuches? Like Confucius?
Is that his name?
Confucius. Hank starts a gang war. Confucius.
Fuchs. I don't fucking know. Whatever this motherfucker's name. The Raven. Yeah.
Right. The Raven.
Yeah.
Oh, corny. It's so meta because now we have to call him the Raven.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the Raven and Hank have like this kind of like Cold War, and he sends what they call the Foo Box, like the 4 ultimate badass killers.
That was so funny.
Yeah. He sends like all their heads in box. He sends these in like the biggest fucking like post office boxes. I was like,
with blood on the bottom.
Right? He sent the blood.
Like, wow, the post office is so generous. Guns, heads. Like,
yes, anything. But as soon as you start talking about gun control, like all of a sudden everybody,
like, okay,
like, what?
Alrighty. I know, shit.
Yeah, but what were your thoughts on this episode?
Yeah, no, it was really cool. I think it's funny how you mentioned the whole like Barry basically made a cascade of these choices and a cascade into different people's lives, and it's like that's the effect that fate has, I think, and it's really interesting because this show's so funny, and like sometimes you kind of have to figure out the abstract. But for the most part, the bigger picture is that everyone's affected by the personal motivations and personal motivations of others. And it's really realistic if you think about it. So yeah, we start off, Barry is in the garage from Jim. And I thought that we were going to have like this really intense interrogation. I was really hoping to see that again. If you guys know, you guys know. But instead, it was something really cool. I wonder if this is actually realistic. Like he connected Barry to an IV bag and he had goggles on and Barry was like hallucinating and saying, Gene, YouTube SEO, that's me, YouTube SEO. And but what's really cool is that, which I'm surprised because I thought that Jim knew that Barry gave Kusanao $250,000. And so he just figured that out. I was like, in 8 years, you didn't read that notebook that you took? And it was like, he finally read it. And yeah, so now he's on to Kusanao. He wants to probably talk to Kusanao again, and he knows that he's in the US. But from there, I think we see a lot of Fuches, which was hilarious, though. That whole conversation where after they beheaded those guys, that whole thing where they had the 2 people on the couch, and there was like a nice dialogue talking about Fast and Furious, like how to drown out the sound. You know what they should have did? They should have put our first episodes like music there to drown out the sound of beheadings.
Oh my God, our game, they would have never heard that shit.
Okay. There's a ringing to my ears when I hear the audio.
Like, it's so funny because I just saw Fast X like yesterday too. When they were talking about it, I started laughing. And they're like, like why not just take him out and then we have a nice dinner, right? Yeah,
that's it.
Some noise canceling headphones.
The one guy speaking Spanish, right? Like we got to worry about them,
right?
That was really funny.
They had one, and then Hank comes out, and I thought at first that was like a Taliban telescope or some shit.
Yeah, if you guys know about the Covenant, they love their telescopes.
Yeah, I thought he was gonna like spy on him or some shit, but he had like one like rocket launcher, and he was like, "Oh, you thought we were gonna get this on the first try?" And it goes like way past the house. It's like,
I thought it killed the lady and her daughter at first. I was thinking like,
oh shit, it would have been really dark.
Yeah, because I think that they were driving them out, and I thought that killed them. I was like, whoa. Yeah, I know, that was really funny. That's what I love about Barry. It's just the camera shots too. Like they put things out of focus, sometimes really far away, and it's so funny. And gladly Hank escaped and survived. But what's interesting too, I think what really got kind of sad was that Sally. That's really weird. Gene must love Sally a lot, because I love that just Gene's face, because that was like us during like this month of stress. But she was like, I need someone to pick me up, and he's like, I can't. I have an appointment. And then I love how he said it too. And then Sally, he offered like Sally to go to his house. Mm-hmm. It was like such bad timing too, because Hank had the idea of capturing Gene and get Barry to come out, because he wanted to basically barter, if you will, with Fuches and like the lives of his men and stuff, giving Fuches what he wants. So Sally's there. Guys, remember when I mentioned that there was this semi-dream sequence in last episode, and that she probably heard the guy that she stabbed in the eye through her like subconscious or something like that? Well, yeah, this guy showed up in a physical manifestation. It was a cop. And I find the parallel really interesting, because in season 3, you see Barry looking at Sally, and there was like a random bullet that went to her head, but it was all a dream. He was hallucinating. And so this time we see that Sally is guilt-ridden, and she sees the guy bleeding from his eye. And it looks like these two are so intertwined that maybe at this point you have to keep this toxic relationship intact, because if you don't, all things will go to hell. I feel like it's something now that they're two like in it and they have a kid, that they separate, maybe things will be actually worse. So it's really weird. It's kind of, if you will, even if they both end the series like together on like a beach somewhere, it's still a bad ending, because no matter what, they're screwed, right? Yeah. There's no peace.
Yeah, so, it's like a Bonnie and Clyde situation. Like one can't exist without the other, but I feel like when they both are together, it's chaos, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. What did you think of Kusanao in this episode? He's so fucking two-faced. He's the lowest of the low. He's worse than Shiv from Succession. He's like so two-faced. Oh my god, that was so fun. Like, he started out like, okay, I'm gonna cancel this movie, and then he calls that agent guy calls him, and he's like, oh yeah, Barry is a traumatized, sympathetic soul. I was like, you fucking two-faced piece of shit.
Shit. No, when he heard Daniel Day-Lewis, he was like,
that was it. That was the moment that changed the entire universe.
Right. That's exactly, yeah. I mean, and then plus Mark Wahlberg is going to show up to play Barry. Wow. That's a strong movie. He's not a cop. Let's just leave that out. You know, he's a good guy. He's a cop. He should be a cop, but instead he's going to be Barry.
He'll do Transformers movies, but he won't be a cop.
Absolutely, absolutely, 100%. No, that was. Give me your thoughts on that, because I thought that was hilarious too. Because the agent. Which I thought that was weird. I was like, damn, you're representing Daniel Day-Lewis and then also Mark Wahlberg together? I was like, whoa, that guy's making bank.
It's just funny the timing, because we if you guys don't know, we've been looking into like getting guests on our podcast, and we've been researching UTA. And that's why like sometimes I feel like our podcast is being written by Kang.
Yes,
or somebody.
It is so weird.
In the background, first the Fast and Furious thing, and I feel like, I don't know, it's like Destiny or some shit.
It's like Star Wars. It's like Rey and Kylo. It's crazy. Yeah, it's like everything that happens, every joke that we have, it like goes on to like whatever we're reviewing or something. It's so weird.
That's why The Last of Us is being delayed right now, because they're just waiting for us to make content and then just
I know
make shit out of that.
Bro, I have to update you guys on Factions too. Coming soon to a theater near you. But let me get your thoughts on that whole thing with Gene actually trying to meet up with the Marky Mark.
I thought that was so funny. Like I said, it's like he's so two-faced. Like, you know, at first like he's doing this, you know, you think it's gonna be like, okay, he has a change of heart. Maybe he's a little less narcissistic now. But as soon as the guy mentions, like, you know, Daniel Day-Lewis and Mark Wahlberg, he's like, oh, fuck, I'm all for it. Right? Complete 180. And then he gets, like, that meeting, and then Jim is there. And then, like, it gets a little awkward.
It's a setup, yeah.
The funniest part out of all that I got was from the agent was one of his students.
Right.
How the fuck did you not know this was one of your students? Like, the fuck?
That's really funny. Yeah, it's a setup in different ways, because coincidentally, the story's always in Barry. Like he always gets away from these situations. He's always on thin ice, and it's always by chance. That's why I mentioned like fate earlier, because it's like chance, it's fate. It's really interesting how they play with that. And so now Kusanov is being blamed for kind of being the head of this operation. I find it really strange because, you know, let's face it. I mean, we kind of want to see Barry pull through. I know, like, I think it's really interesting. And this is kind of like the new fad now. If you see, like, back then with Thanos, it's like we kind of like Thanos for some reason. Or, like, there's that back and forth of, like, Thanos was right. It's like, we know Barry's bad, but we still want to pull. We're still pulling for Barry. We want him to win. We still want him to be with Sally. Yeah. But that's really delicate, and it shows how good the writing is. Because if we could still be sympathetic and like actually want Barry to have a good life, and like rather for someone like Gene Kusanov to be screwed, then that like shows you, like, you know, what a good writing team can do and offer. And yeah, so that was really interesting. And Gene's son is there, which I don't understand why Gene just didn't say, "I thought you were Barry." I don't know why he was like, right. I wanted the money, and he did
the money.
Yeah, they thought that Gene, the kid showed up. He's like, he ran away to Israel. Like, he didn't want anything to do with these people.
What they should have done was they should have had Gene go through the door, and then Mark Wahlberg was there with the shoes from The Departed. It would have matched to
you saw the rats on
and
like,
then you
the
see like
window
Tommy
thing?
like behind, like, oh no.
Shoots him in the head.
Shit.
Yeah, that threw me off. But anyway, I'm kind of like glad for it though. Like, I don't want Gene to go to jail, but I just want this to be resolved. But I don't know. Sometimes death is the only answer, and I feel like that's going to be the answer for either Gene, Barry, Hank, or Fuches, or it could be all of them. So later on, we also see that Sally is kidnapped because she met up there at what's his name? Kusanov's old house. Yeah. And the Russians came, or the Chechens, sorry. They came and they kidnapped her and the son. And they're holding her hostage now. And Barry escaped and went out of the garage. And of course, he passed out because he was bleeding, and he's also, you know, been there for a while. And he wakes up, someone calls, he thinks it's Sally. It's not Sally, it's actually Hank. And he says, like, meet me here. And we see how aggressive he is. That's why, if you're new to Barry, that's what I love. I think like each season you'll see like a massacre. Like, Barry's like a monster. I feel like we're going to see that next season. I mean, I'm sorry, not next season, next episode. Yeah. So give me your thoughts on that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm still new to the series myself, but I could definitely see that. I mean, from what, you know, you've told me, and from what I've seen from the show so far, it looks like the next episode is going to be an intense one, and probably a prolonged one if it's the finale.
I hope so. Yeah.
That's why I always feel like HBO, like with their shows, I feel like they kind of tend to rush their finales a bit. You see that with Game of Thrones. But I don't know. I mean, it could be like maybe he has to. Well, it looks like Hank is trying to get Barry to, you know, for Fuches, so that they can end this kind of like blood feud. So maybe like Barry goes ham on like Fuches' mansion or something. I think that'd be so funny. Oh, what if he's killing everybody, and then like the wife and the daughter are just there with they're watching Fast and Furious.
They'll so do something like that. Yeah, they'll so do that.
They have a nice dinner, they're having like a meal or such.
Right, they'll so do that. No, I think that'll be hilarious. Yeah, I mean, it's really complicated what's going to happen because they don't have much time. What really hurts me is like I feel like John, Sally, and Barry won't be okay at the end. That's what really gets me, and it's like it's kind of sad. Hank, I could see him dying, and I could see also Fuches dying somehow. I don't want him to die, but like I could see it. More so Fuches. I guess everyone's like kind of okay with Fuches dying, but like Hank is like a favorite. But with Barry, Sally, and John, I don't know. I don't know how you get out of this. Really,
do you think it'll be like a showdown between like Kusanov and Barry?
Oh yeah, for sure. I think it's going to be a showdown for sure. I think finally, right? Because in the previous seasons, they've been. It's like a cat and mouse kind of chase, and they only talk. And now this is like the build up. For sure, a lot of those bodyguard people aren't going to die. I feel like John is actually going to go into like foster care.
Ooh.
I got a big feeling that for some reason I feel like Barry and Sally might go to jail. I don't want that, but I feel like, and then John's
They're
gonna go
terrible
foster
parents.
care.
I mean, that's probably the best thing for John is fucking the system.
Unless they escape, unless they actually, there was in Chechnya, which I think is kind of funny. Maybe he makes a deal with Hank, and Hank, because Hank has the access. Maybe Hank later on is like, oh, you hold on, don't kill me, Betty. Hold on, kill Fuches. Fuches is here. And you see, so that's the setup. And now Barry goes to kill Fuches, and then they all leave to Chechnya somewhere. And so now Barry and Sally are in Chechnya. But again, it's not a happy ending, really, because Sally's really disillusioned with her life. And, you know, you left, but there's nothing else for you. And then what's going to happen with Gene Cousineau? I don't know. I mean, he was happy in Israel. I would imagine he'll probably return to Israel and just stay there. I think he'll probably be happy just staying there.
You think he's gonna go to the premiere of his own movie?
I don't know. They could make the movie in like 1 month. I don't know, because they keep talking like this movie's gonna be made in like 3 weeks. But
is this movie even real now? I feel like it's fake now. After the whole...
Yeah, that's true. I don't know. That confuses me too. I don't know. I feel like it's kind of gonna be this unsettling piece. That's how it's gonna end. It's something where, and I think that's the most naturalistic type of conclusion, you know. So yeah, but what would you rate this episode?
It was pretty funny. I'm not gonna lie, and it has like, you know, great moments. And like I said, I think it's interesting that they still managed to hold its own without Barry being at the forefront of a lot of things, just with like a lot of these like funny, like bombastic character moments. So I think it's a 8 out of 10 for me. How would you rate it?
Probably give it a 9 out of 10. Yeah, again, it's one of like the best shows HBO Max has besides Succession, and like I really enjoyed this episode. Each episode's funny in its own way, but I feel like this one was really funny, and there was a lot that happened. I actually felt like a long episode, yet this was one of the shortest episodes in this season so far. So it's only 29 minutes. So I mean, I give it a 9 out of 10. I really enjoyed it, but
it's very abstract.
Yes, that's why I keep mentioning that too. I remember. Yeah. Well, why don't you take us away?
Well, guys, thank you for staying till the end of this video. Check out our other reviews for Barry season 4. This is the final season, correct, Akram?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't want to mess it up because I know you guys are spiteful. Right. But yeah, check out our other review series. We're still covering Succession. We have one more episode for that as well. We're still covering Citadel and Silo on Prime and Apple TV, respectively. A lot of content this month.
Yeah.
We're pumping out content. We're so tired. Like, if you haven't seen our pimples and our crow's feet, like, we're so
the
tired.
Raven.
Yeah, we're the Raven. But yeah, guys, we love you. Thank you for all your support. Thank you to we're close to 400 subs. We're getting there slowly but surely. Yeah. Check out our Last of Us video that Akram posted. It's been getting a lot of views lately, and he did such a great job editing it.
Thank you.
Yeah, guys, thank you so much. And until then, thanks for having a bunch of us.
See you guys.